car that we did a bit with last year, and it's got a bit of a future to go as well. There's bits and pieces to still do. What it was it's an automatic LSA. It's the Gen 2 of the LSA GTS, which had the automatic transmission, had a mild stall, camshaft, pulley, injectors, exhaust system, air cleaner, and a reservoir for the intercooler, and it was making decent horsepower. This one was on new tyres, and it still is actually, but it was on new tyres and starting to give us our biggest reading. But that's where it was. The guy took it away. He's did a little bit in race wars, so going as quick as he can down a kilometre strip, and he wants to go a fair bit further. So what we've done is actually going through in the beginning of the end goal is rebuilt the engine. Now, there was nothing wrong with the LSA engine, but he wanted to basically put some stronger stuff in there for later on. So planning on going above 700 rear wheel horsepower. So some good forged pistons, H-beam rods, stroke it while we're in there. So put in a 4-inch stroker crankshaft, actually changed the camshaft to suit the bigger build, and also did some ceramic coating on the top of the forged pistons. But that's basically the bits and pieces at the moment. We also stepped up the clutches in the torque converter and went to a slightly larger stall to deal with things. But it's back in that format at the moment. We've gone a tiny bit further on the supercharger. This one was done previous to us. It had the small top pulley. Not the most efficient way to get its 18%, and really not running quite the same boost as when you do 18% overdrive on the bottom because of the lack of drive up the top here. But because he's not planning on staying with this supercharger, we've stayed with that and just gone to a 10% on the bottom. So it means it's probably running somewhere between the 23 and 24% overdrive, so really a little bit too much for, you're spinning them pretty quick. But on that level, it's all working fine, and like I said, it's an interim step. There's a bigger supercharger probably next year, but at the moment, spinning that little compressor fairly hard on top of the 6.8 litre or the 416 cubic inch engine. We've raised the compression ratio back up to the normal sort of place to get the most out of them, and then we've run a different camshaft, like I said. Over here at the graph, this is a comparison on a couple of different cars, on a good one that was running good horsepower. So we saw the 630 with this particular LSA. This particular car itself was only running the 610 or 615, so I've gone to a bigger graph to get a fair comparison, and that's what it was. You can see now, well, on that run we just saw there, this one actually ran the 670 horsepower at the tyres. You can see where down the bottom the compressor is working a bit better, and down here at 3,000 revs, I think it's around the 3,500 RPM, you see there's a really good gain in horsepower. We're talking 80 horsepower. If you go up here, we're in around the 5,000 revs. We're still in the world of 50 plus rear wheel horsepower, actually 65 rear wheel horsepower gain with the stroker at that level. Up the top here you can see where the compressor is really running out of puff. It's still holding itself there. I should say we're running around about the 9.5 pounds of boost, so fairly low boost for what this combination is, but still going to get there. And a nice improvement, mainly in the capacity of the engine is what you're looking at, but should be a good step, and looking forward to doing the bigger compressor to super.